mercy, and peace be to you from God our Father and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who is the bread of life. The words for our meditation this morning are from our gospel reading from John chapter 6, verses 24 to 35, as summarized in these verses. Very truly I tell you, you are looking for me, not because you saw the signs I performed, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has placed his seal of approval. Jesus answered, the work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. This is God's word. Fellow partakers of our Savior's heavenly food. What kind of bread do you like? If you're having a sandwich, do you put it on toast? And if you put it on toast, do you like it more lightly toasted, or are you more towards the burnt side? If you have a sandwich that maybe you have meat on it, do you like something that is maybe on a soft roll, or do you prefer the hard roll? Maybe anything that we do revolving bread depends on the circumstances in which we are eating it. Today, obviously, we're speaking about bread. And it isn't just something of an earthly sense, although there is that part involved because we're coming off from last Sunday and following through the feeding of the 5,000. But this morning, really the emphasis is on a contrast of two breads. The bread that we eat, a physical eating that we have, which really Jesus is using in the context of, and we can figure it out, it's not that hard, bread meaning anything that you need for physical sustenance. Things that spoil, physical things. Now let me right at the beginning say, this is not something that's bad. We're talking, there's no dichotomy that says physical things are bad and then the spiritual things are things that are good, but spiritual things have nothing to do with physical things. That isn't it at all. As we're seeing, it has something to do with who we are as people. We are body and soul, but it's about prioritizing. What is the physical aspect of bread, that contrast between what is physical and therefore spoils, versus the heavenly food, the spiritual food, which is food, bread for the soul. And if we have that bread for the soul, then we see everything falls into place the way God would have it fall into place. We want to be reminded again today to taste the bread of life. Taste the bread of life. It never spoils. It doesn't. It never spoils. It is soul food. And the neat thing is free. The text for this morning, where were we? Recall the circumstances. Jesus had fed the 5,000 men plus all their families. And last Sunday, although we did not preach on that text, it was the gospel, we preached on 2 Corinthians. And if you were here last week, maybe you remember one of the verses from that text was, and God is able to, this is from 2 Corinthians, and God is able to make all grace, we emphasize all grace abound to you, so that in all things, at all times, you will have all that you need to abound in every good work. All those works. All those good things that God would want us to do. So what was the point of it? The point of last Sunday and what Jesus did in showing compassion on people. He does care about us physically. That's for body and soul. But what Jesus was also saying is that compassion, Jesus' compassion for the individuals did not precede something that was more important. He was also, here's what I have, Lord. And Jesus didn't say, hey, look, there's all these probably over 10,000 people here. Your 5 loaves, your 2 fish, they aren't going to go anywhere. Thank you anyway, but sit down, please. We'll figure something else out. No, he used that. He used it as an example also to teach the disciples. But it was for us to look at the bigger picture as well. As God provides for us in unique ways for each of us, our physical lives, then we are to be good stewards. Use what he has given us, the all. He's given us all that we need at all times, certain things that we need, and able to do something for somebody else. And it doesn't matter how poor you are, it doesn't matter any of your circumstances, unless you get to a point where physically you're not able to do anything. But for most of us, no matter what our circumstances are, we can do something to help somebody else out. But that all springs back to what's important first, and why do we do that? And so that was the context of, as you remember, it ended poorly. That whole situation ended poorly. Jesus had to pull away because the people wanted to make Jesus a bread king. They wanted him, at the end of our lesson from last week, they wanted him to say, look, Lord, we're more concerned about our stomach than our souls. And so what spoils our hearts, their hearts were being spoiled because they were looking for things that were just physical. So that's how it ended. So then the text for today starts up, as you heard, as Jesus was going away. Here's how the text started. After the people saw the miraculous sign that Jesus did, he had healed all those, he had fed the 5,000, they began to say, surely this is the prophet who was to come into the world. Jesus, knowing that they intended to come and make him king by force, withdrew again by himself to a mountain. Once the crowd realized that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, they got into the boats and went to Capernaum to search for Jesus. When they found him on the other side of the lake, they asked him, Rabbi, when did you get here? So Jesus goes out. He has the disciples go out, get into the boat. They're on the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee. They're going to be going over to Capernaum as they cross over from the east to the west from the lake. They're over there. The people are watching. Hey, where's Jesus? He didn't get into one of the boats. When morning comes, Jesus isn't there. Where are you, Jesus? Now, you remember what happened in between this. What took place was the episode on the lake when the storm came up and Peter was walking. Jesus told Peter to come out and walk on the water. That all happened that night. That happened right after this. So all that happened. So Jesus ultimately, obviously, was then in the boat after the storm was calm. He rescued Peter, warned the disciples, told the disciples, oh, you of little faith. They're on the other side, and the people are there, and the context is almost, Jesus, we're looking for you. Where were you? They finally got their boat. Jesus' headquarters was in Capernaum at that point. Hey, they went to look for him. Hey, how did you get here? It's almost, did you do a travel miracle that you got here that we didn't even see you get here? And therein lied the rub. They asked him, Rabbi, when did you get here? Jesus answered, I tell you the truth. You are looking for me, not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures for eternal life. And there's the situation. It's for each one of us. It's to be able to look and to say, it's the same problem with Adam and Eve at the beginning, right? At the beginning of creation. Why did Eve eat that forbidden fruit? She was looking for things that spoiled. She saw that fruit, that it was good to eat. She looked at it for something for gaining wisdom. She saw that something, boy, this is something that it's good to even look at. It's something that's there, it's pleasurable. And so she eats it. Things that spoil. And we heard it in our Old Testament lesson. The people are complaining. Here is God who had rescued them from Egypt. God, you're not going to you've taken us to a place where we don't have enough food. We want to go back to Egypt. And they start to complain. And so, what does God do? He provides them manna. Literally means, what is it? They didn't know what it is. They named it manna. It's that bread from heaven to feed them physically and began to crave other food. They got tired of the manna. And against the Israelites started wailing and said, if only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt. God did not provide them with meat every day. In Egypt at no cost. Also the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now we have lost our appetite. We never see anything but this manna. We got tired. describing himself as that bread of life. Everything that we need for eternity, every blessing, everything that we need to have a right relationship with him, which has to do, obviously, with the forgiveness of sins. Everything that we need for him, every promise that he has, everything for eternity, every blessing, including taking care of us physically as he wishes, and assisting us with the work that we do in our own lives. As he provides for the farmer and harvest, he provides us in our work. But it's not for things that spoil. Manna spoils. Food spoils. And what is the challenge in our life? It really is the kind of sandwich that we want to have. I don't know if you call it this. I remember when I was younger, I don't know if I use this expression as much anymore. What do you want for lunch? How about a PBJ? Peanut butter and jelly. That would seem to be a common expression. Peanut butter and jelly on a sandwich. We need food to live. But if you look at the PBJ, Moses didn't provide the manna, God did. It was bread from heaven, but that was bread from heaven just for the Israelites. Relationship with him, because it's involving the soul, is as close as it can be, because it involves changing the heart from unbelief to belief. That bread of life is for the soul. And then Jesus turns it around and tells and explains, what do you do to get this food? And again, the people were kind of